This is a magic trick. No one can figure out a white cloth, a chair. That's all it takes to make someone float in midair. The man stared wide-eyed, but couldn't uncover the secret. He desperately wanted to buy the trick from the magician, but was firmly refused. The magician only wanted to pass his life's work to his grandson. Unexpectedly, a sinister look flashed in the man's eyes. As the magician covered himself with the white cloth again, he struck with deadly force and successfully stole the magician's notebook. 9 years later, that once unknown man, Neville, using the stolen floating chair trick, had become a superstar in the magic world. One day, a reporter came for an interview, but as soon as the reporter approached, Neville sensed something was off. It turned out this reporter was also a magic enthusiast, but his skills were child's play compared to Neville's. After awkwardly returning the ring, the reporter wasn't ready to give up and wanted to show another trick. Neville acted generous and gestured for him to continue. The reporter asked Neville to write a series of numbers on paper without letting him see, then go to the other side of the room to get a piece of fruit. Neville came back with a banana. The reporter pulled out a small knife, sliced the banana to prove it was real, then cut open his own palm and smeared blood on the paper. The numbers Neville had written gradually appeared. However, Neville immediately exposed the trick without mercy. There was a tracker on the pen.
Chip which relays my hand movements to an app via your phone, which you conveniently checked when you got your imaginary phone.
The real knife was hidden in his inner pocket. Besides being a bit clumsy and outdated, for a beginner it was decent, but who did he learn all this from? I guess from my grandfather. As soon as he finished speaking, the young man's smile vanished. He was the grandson of the old magician who disappeared years ago. Faced with the accusation, Neville flatly denied it. The young man angrily threatened to call the police, then stormed off. The moment the young man left, Neville panicked. He quickly turned off all the surveillance cameras in the room, opened the safe, took out the old magician's notebook, and burned it to ashes. He thought he could finally rest easy. The next day, the police did come to his studio, but not for theft. His wife had been murdered the night before. The police asked for his alibi, but in order to destroy the notebook, Neville had turned off the only surveillance that could prove his whereabouts. This immediately raised the police's suspicion. They quickly noticed the safe in the corner and demanded Neville open it. Neville sensed something was wrong, but had no choice but to enter the code. Just as he raised his hand, he looked at the ring on his finger and suddenly realized this had been an elaborate setup from the very beginning. Yesterday, when the young man stole his ring, he was actually making a switch, replacing it with a ring that had a tracker. When Neville opened the safe to destroy the evidence last night, the young man had already recorded his finger movements through the tracker and obtained the code. Even more terrifying, when Neville exposed the trick yesterday, he personally touched the real knife hidden in the young man's pocket, leaving behind fatal fingerprints. Last night, the young man used that very knife to kill and used the code to sneak in, placing the murder weapon in the safe. When Neville opened the safe, there was only one thing inside, the murder weapon covered with his fingerprints. The essence of magic is misdirection. By diverting the audience's attention, the truth stays hidden behind the curtain. Neville thought he was destroying evidence, but he was actually locking himself in his own cage. This was a perfect magic trick and an airtight revenge.